I better start doing my Christmas shopping now.
I know, I thought of that the other day as I, walked past the county, I said, my God, it's like 3 months.
You're all good. You're all set.
That's disgusting.
The cartoonist in one of the papers changed everything around, and they said it was a solstice.
Oh, geez.
Okay, welcome to the City of Laconia Conservation Commission meeting for Wednesday, September 21st, 2020. We're going to start with a roll call. I'm Dean Anson.
Deb Williams?
Bob Harrington?
Ruth O'Hara.
Taylor Daigle.
Okay, we have a quorum, so we're going to salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so our staff in attendance is Taylor Daigle, who's our conservation technician. Okay, so we have the minutes from September 7th, 2022. Does anybody have any comments on those?
You know, I just realized, I know Pat Tarby, she used to work for the RC&D, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah. Small world.
Yep.
I'll make a motion that we accept these minutes as
Second.
given to us.
Somebody want a second?
I did.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, anybody have any comments, other comments? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Okay, so before we get to taking on the old business, I just wanted to, I found this in a parking lot. It's a zip tie,
Yeah.
and Deb and I know a woman who had a niece, a relative,
Yeah.
who was kidnapped. And apparently there are a group of people that go around and put these on door handles of cars of women. And then when they go to take this off, they kidnap them. So if you see this on your car handle, call the police. Don't open your car, walk away, call the police. So, anyway, that's just public service announcement. Okay. So, what we're gonna do tonight is talk about taking action for wildlife conservation, the cohort that we're doing. And we started talking about it in the last meeting, and I'd like to see if we can make some progress moving forward on that. So is there anybody who would like to start off with an
I thought
idea?
the program the other night was really well done. The information was well done and very, very helpful. And then the notes, and I can't remember her name right now, but that she took and sent back were great. But we still have to, although I feel better now that we don't have to narrow it down right now.
Right.
But I don't have any suggestions, other than whatever we do, I think, from my personal standpoint, needs to also, anything that goes to the public has to have some part of the impact we humans have on the wildlife, on the environment.
I agree.
feel like probably the biggest bang for our buck would be to put those educational kiosks along the WOW Trail. That's what I would vote for as a project. I just see, I mean, we could, start small and expand it every year. I mean, I was thinking about different topics we could do. We could have one for pollinators, we could have one for climate change, stormwater runoff, invasive species, smart development, like best practices with building, pollution and littering, recycling. And then we could also have a plug for volunteerism.
And some of those things could be strategically placed along the WOW Trail
Right,
for particular things that could be seen.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the idea of the pollinators, we could probably get, there's so many groups now doing pollinator gardens.
And we could actually combine it with a rain garden.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that the WOW Trail is where we're gonna get the most visibility.
Yeah.
especially like from Messer Street to Lakeport. I
Yeah.
feel like that's used
I've
quite a
got
bit.
one spot to start. Invasive species, right there at the.
There, exactly, there's a demo model right there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's so much diversity along that trail that
Yeah.
could be used and pointed out with signage and,
Yeah, actually, the bittersweet all along that fence that is between.
I've cut it down before, it's grown back, but I.
Oh, you cut it,
Yeah.
well, it's never ending.
We did it with the middle schoolers once, we
Yeah.
did some invasive cleanup there, and
Yeah.
it's an annual,
it's a project
Yeah,
for every year.
It's a persistent annual.
it's a PIA annual.
I just think that, I mean, we each have our own little, you like to talk about climate change and invasives. I'm all about water. I mean, we could definitely each, develop one idea.
And I think a lot of the ideas can, you're talking about invasive species, and then you're talking about the corridors for the wildlife. I mean, so many of these things all twist
Tie in
and
together.
play into one another.
yeah, yeah,
Nothing is independent of
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
else.
yeah.
And I think about educating youngsters, and a lot of them use that trail to go to school every day.
Absolutely.
And if you see something enough and it gets in your head enough, it might just actually stay there.
Are any of you familiar with the writings of Wendell Berry? Probably are. His Art of the Commonplace is just talking about the interplay of everything and what we've
Interconnectivity.
done in the past to
Right.
disrupt that.
What was the name?
Wendell Berry, Berry.
What's the title of the commonplace?
The Art of the Commonplace. It's a series of essays that he's done over the years and compiled them together in one book.
So this past weekend, I was down at the Robert Frost Farm down in Derry. And they had little plaques with his poems on them, with a, kind of introduction. This is where he was when he wrote this poem. And I thought that would be, and they're attached to cement bases that are in the ground so they can't be damaged easily. And I thought about doing that along the WOW Trail. I thought that would be an effective way of doing it. And, we could even create, so we don't have to worry about invasive species. There are plenty of those opportunities to show those. But, you know, we could build a rain garden, we could build pollinator gardens.
Right.
And say, this is a pollinator garden, and,
Yeah, yeah, there's probably already the start of something at the end in that little park there at Lakeport Square.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not as familiar with it, but that could be a field trip for us.
Yeah,
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 it would probably be beneficial to like maybe focus, so you said like Messer Street to Lakeport, maybe we all go walk that one day and identify the sites that would be most suitable for certain things.
yeah.
Right?
And then we can kind of plan out and map it out. And I think there's a couple different parties we'll have to reach out to.
Mhm.
I think we need to talk to Amy from Parks and Alan
Beetle.
Beetle
Beetle, yeah.
and see, we just need to make sure that we can get these permissions to do the work. And so those might be some of the people we want to reach out to
You know, and
relatively soon, just to get like their feel about the topic.
Yeah.
Right, before we get too far, right?
there might be some that say, well, we want to help.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I was thinking too. You talked about how this is like this is something that can be expanded on.
Yeah.
You could also, we could do something where we promote it and say, if you want to sponsor a plaque about a specific topic, so let's say the garden club or something wants to put a pollinator garden here and they get to
That's a
write up
great idea.
their plaque.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe we can get grant funding to purchase all of these plaques, and they get their logo out there, we get our logo out there, expand the trail, all that kind of stuff.
I mean, I could picture, you know, a plaque with the information on it along with a Q code that they could go and get more information, and then you could have a quote at the bottom.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know,
Yeah,
from Robert Frost or whoever.
Maybe what
Window-
I can work
Windowberry.
on is like a document template that we can insert things into. So we can insert a piece of text here or a picture here, a link, or not a link, but like a QR code if we wanted to go that route here, and kind of, so that way we, as we come up with ideas, we can just fill it in. And that they would all look like.
would that be, you know, online, computer,
Probably,
let's
yeah.
say,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can make it through something on Microsoft.
Yeah.
And that way it's kind of like a plug and chug thing.
Yeah,
Like a
yeah.
template.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
so, so we're just talking about starting with the WOW Trail. You know, one of the things I was thinking was, you know how there are placemats in some restaurants that have advertisements on them? What if we had a placemat that had a map of the city showing where there are trails?
Oh, good idea.
So we have the river walk, we have the WOW Trail, we have, you know, this is, this is where Prescott Farm is, they have trails there, this is where Ahern Park is.
Yeah, right.
So that it would make the city more friendly.
User-friendly.
Yeah.
And it isn't much, but the almost defunct Main Street initiative of Laconia is, I'm trying to get it disbanded, but John Moriarty doesn't seem to do anything, and he's the chair of it. But anyway, we have a small fund in our savings account that's, I think it may be around $700 that was earmarked for Riverfront. And
For
that
the-
could go for signage.
Okay,
But if it's disbanded, that money has to go to some nonprofit or something like that.
right.
That was one of the ideas that we had, possibly.
You know, I think that that's a good idea, putting it along the river walk.
Yeah.
I was listening to the news talking about Puerto Rico and the problems they had with their rivers there.
Yeah.
And they said that I found this term to be interesting, the rivers flooded. I thought, rivers were supposed to get. And they talked about how rivers meander, and that was a problem they were having,
Yeah.
was in the last hurricane, which was about a year ago, is when the rivers started to meander, and now they're meandering more,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
so.
Well, just look to the side when you go down 393 and see the meanders there
Yeah.
on the Merrimack.
Exactly. You know, and that might be one of the things that we want to do, is have a map showing how the rivers in the state flow. Like, this is the Pemmy, you know, and the Pemmy and the Winnipesaukee join and form the Merrimack
Yeah,
down
it's
in.
interesting, just traveling Route 104, you can see
The-
dividing.
Right, right.
Yeah, between Wickwas and Pemmy. One flows into the Pemmichewasset, the other one flows into the Merrimack.
So I think, you know, like, 'cause
Winnipesaukee, rather.
yeah, I think that the kids, and maybe what we want to do, I don't want to deviate from where we are, though. So I think this is really a good idea, you know, because then it makes the trail more educational. It's not just an opportunity to exercise or
Yeah.
get from A to B, point A to point B.
Do you guys know off the top of your hand, does the trail run through private property or is it owned? by-
Only one part in Belmont.
Okay. So everything else, because I'm just thinking about, like, do we need to work with any homeowners about
No,
anything?
only when you get up past Roberts Park,
Okay,
there's some signage where they have these gigantic houses built. It's private property.
Yeah.
But, oh, wait, there might be one small area, it's on the past Bartlett Beach, where it goes over whatever that brook is, and then there's a
Durkee Brook,
sign, there's a,
yeah.
Turkey.
a fairly short piece where there's these concrete things that I almost hit with my bike every time I go through there. But I think that's private property too, because it says, you know, be quiet, or so I don't know if it's private property or they're just asking people to tone it down, but it looks like it kind of goes over property, because it's right on the water's edge there. But that's, if we're gonna focus from Messer Street down,
yeah.
We're going from Messer Street to Lakeport?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
then we don't need to worry too much about this end of it,
Yeah,
and
right.
certainly not Belmont.
But I think one of the things that Wendy suggested was that we coordinate with Belmont.
Yeah.
And because when you get down to the Belmont side, it's much different.
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
very, yeah,
It's all forested and it's very hilly, and
yeah, very.
it's basically, it's a combination of the paved path, but it's also got like a boardwalk. It's got a wooden boardwalk that's,
Well, and there's two small ponds that are scummy.
and one of those ponds is a source of contamination for Winnisquam.
Well, that would be an interesting thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and so we're kind of,
Is that over the Belmont line?
Yeah.
it's near where the housing development is. What is it, the Sunray, no, Sun,
Yes, something
Sun,
or other.
yeah.
yeah,
Sunray.
Sundown, or
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sun Up, or,
two damn big houses.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Sunshine on two days. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think this part is a really interesting part. So what do we have to do to get it started?
I'm guessing the first thing is talking to Amy and Alan.
Right.
Yeah, I
Right.
think we need to set that up first.
Before we
just
go,
To get
Yeah.
permission.
Marching down a path that has a dead end.
Right.
And we might want to invite them on whatever walk we do. Just so that
Good idea.
they can, you know, point out, well, we had a plan for this or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, this might be a good spot.
So if we're going to do that, we probably should be mindful of, both of them work, so need to be mindful of their,
Well, Amy's Parks and Rec, so she can probably just,
Part of her work.
Right.
Yeah.
right.
I think Alan has more freedom than Patrick's would probably let him leave for a bit.
I don't know if I have any contact information for Alan. If anyone has any that they could share.
Patrick's Pub, he owns Patrick's Pub.
Oh, okay.
It might be listed if you like looked into Wild Trail too.
Yeah.
Okay.
There might be an email for him.
So do you want me to set up a physical meeting with them or just start with an email chain?
I think if we start with an email and see, they may say, we don't need to do it, just show us where you're gonna do it, and if we had a map, we could choose locations where we wanted to.
Yeah, we kinda need to get out there and look at it and say, okay,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is an ideal spot for a pollinator garden, and this is an ideal spot to point out that,
Yeah.
I mean, if there's a vernal pool or something that you could identify, that,
I know there's a spot that whenever there's a heavy rainstorm, it washes through. So that would be perfect for stormwater runoff
right,
Yeah.
or a rain garden. So,
And the Boy Scouts have put or maybe not the Boy Scouts, somebody has put signs out there for different things.
well,
And
yeah, there were the birdhouses.
Yeah, the birdhouses are, that's an Eagle Scout.
Project.
Yeah. So I think we need, when we go, let's take pictures of the signs that are there, and maybe we can take those signs and put them into our format, so that we have this Q code like Deb suggested, so that people can get more information.
Do we want to set a date that we could do this walk, or do you want me to do this email and then we can set a time following that?
I need to know what their schedules are like.
Okay, so I'll email them and see if they would be interested, and then we
yeah,
can.
let's start with them and then, because our next
Meeting is the 5th,
wildlife meeting is the 29th.
right.
Next week.
Which is next week.
Yeah. Time flies.
So it would
Yeah.
be nice if we at least could hear from them by then.
Yeah, I definitely think I can get emails from them, and then let's determine the walk.
And we should probably send an email to the other members that aren't here
Mm-hmm.
so that they know what's happening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I can put together an email for everyone. Like, I'll talk about it in the follow-up email so that everyone in Concom knows about it.
Okay.
And our next Concom meeting is the 5th of October. So if we could have it done before then, that would be great.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I think this is a really good idea. So one idea I had was writing articles for the Laconia Daily Sun. Like we could have one about the lakes, like milfoil, the work that we've been doing for milfoil. The issues we've had this year with cyanobacteria, because there was an alert for cyanobacteria in Winnipesaukee. I forget where it was physically, but anyway. And we could talk about water quality sampling. I thought if what we could do is we could say, we had a series, your Conservation Commission
Talks.
working for you, working for you,
Concom chat.
Well, yeah, we could do that, I mean, I thought that it would be, to let them know that, we just don't review permit
Yeah,
applications.
yeah.
Well, also, if we decide to do this project, we'll have information, we could put that in the paper then, you know, like
Yeah, yeah.
highlight, this is our pollinator garden spot, and this is what's happening here, and, do you know what I mean? We would have built-in information to put it in the paper.
So, you know, the pollinator thing, you know, we have these pocket gardens in town. We should plant, you know, pollinator-friendly plants.
Yeah,
That's all it should be put in there.
yeah.
I mean, that's, I feel like, because different people take care of these pocket gardens, you know, groups, neighborhoods, whatever, sign up for them. Maybe if we had just a handout to give them for, information, you know, these are great pollinator plants, these are, you know,
Yeah.
these will look good, these won't get too tall, whatever.
I'd love to see some big sunflowers.
Yeah.
Well, it's good as
Yeah,
long as
well,
it's not in the
we've
middle
got-
of the
got
road
some there
and
and,
it's messing.
Do not put it at the end of Province Street,
Right.
Yeah.
because you come off Province Street trying to get on South
Right.
Main,
Oh, yeah, yeah, right. Yeah.
Right.
then you can't see
Yeah,
a
we've
blessed
got a
thing.
bunch of them around the flagpole there at the Veteran Square. Oh, no, over.
They tore
by
them out
by
the other
church,
day.
Yeah, church,
They
yeah.
tore them out already.
Yeah, Warren Clement
They
was
think it's
trying
fall.
to get approval to put a bunch of pollinator flowers in one section of the lawn at the church, but he got shot down on that.
Well, and I was communicating with Donna Harris from Petals in the Pines, and she's
Oh, yeah.
willing to do a pollinator presentation at the Belknap Mill in November.
Yeah.
And I thought that would be, you know, that could be an opportunity for us to really start pushing. So what if we tried to be Pollinator City?
Instead of Tree City that we used to be.
Yeah. I mean, we cut all the trees down, so
Right.
Yeah.
put them in a tree museum. Charge $1.50 to come and see them.
Prime source of pollen.
But what if we, you know, it's Warren Clement with, and I don't remember what group he was working with, planted, I think he said 5,000 daffodils
Bulbs,
last year.
Yeah.
5,000 in various locations. So, I mean, if he can plant those, we could be the pollinator people.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Yeah, so much of what put around in various places for decoration, I would say, don't add much for pollen source.
right. So who is in charge of the pocket gardens?
Parks and Rec.
Yeah, and of course, the garden club has signs on some of them, like at the post office and other places that they take care of.
I think Amy would welcome our support.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great.
Okay.
Yeah, I noticed that, I don't know if it's on purpose, but the plantings around the walkway into the library have quite a lot of milkweed.
And you know that,
Yeah.
so there's a garden right over here in front of the mill
Yeah,
that Eversource was supposed to take care of, and they didn't.
yeah.
So I mean, they planted a couple of trees or whatever,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then,
right,
then the weeds took over, and that was the end of that. And fortunately, the city, when they were landscaping, cutting the lawns, went through, cut down all the weeds.
Yeah.
And then I thought that the Quilters Guild was out working on the garden last week. So I think that, that's the kind of thing that we need. We need more people taking action.
Yeah,
Years
And we've got
ago,
some-
the restorative justice program, Brian Ohms, they did those gardens, because Brian's a master gardener, Richard's Brian, and he had the kids out there. I kept kind of hoping that one of the kids some kid would do something terrible at my yard, and they'd have to come in and take care of the whole thing.
yeah. Yeah, that might be a good question for Donna. I'm pretty sure there are still classes going on for master gardener
There
certification.
are, yeah.
And when the people get their certificate, they've got to go looking for a place where they can put in their time that's required and doing work.
Project.
And if we could point them in our direction, maybe we could get some.
Yes, Lisa and I are both master gardeners,
Yeah.
so we can. Are you a master gardener? Do you want to be a master gardener?
Well, I talked to Ruth Smith a few times, emailed back and forth, and it's just whenever it came up, it was not
Yeah.
convenient for timing or where they were in the state, and so we just haven't, this year, I think it's up at the Science Center, but I have too many other things going on, and
It is a big commitment, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, right. How long does that commitment last? Just a number of hours?
No, it was, I think it was 13 Thursdays, all day. For, those were the classes. And
But I
then,
mean,
and
for the service afterward,
right, and then afterward, you had to do 50 hours
50 hours, yeah.
on projects that were approved.
Yeah, okay. Because we had one or two down at the Shaker Village when we were volunteering down there. Some of them seemed to be just putting in their time, but there were some that were really good.
The other thing is we can ask the garden club.
Yeah.
Or we could ask Cooperative Extension. I think the master gardeners are part of the Cooperative Extension.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, yeah.
Okay, so one of the things that Wendy suggested was that we connect with the public either by having some area in the library or some self-guided educational, I guess that's what we're talking about with the WOW Trail, being self-guided.
well, the library also does that, and when you go in, there's that table to the right of the main doors, and,
Yeah.
every month or so, they have
That's right.
a topic.
Yeah,
So
yes,
we could ask them to do
Yeah.
a month on
yeah.
pollinators, and a month on climate change, and a month,
Yeah.
different.
And probably be surprising what they could dig out of their stacks to go into
Oh,
a
absolutely.
particular subject.
Yeah,
If we do a Q code, I'm not as familiar with them, but you can link it to, like information at the library or information at City Hall or anything, right?
Yeah, I'd have to look into how a QR code in this instance would work. I don't know if it would cost money for us to generate one or anything like that, but I can do a little research on that, see if it would be an option.
Prescott Farm set up that system for their self-guided trails there, highlighting certain particular things along the trail with a Q code.
I had a thought that I lost.
Wait, it'll come back. I know how that goes.
Yeah, I know, probably around 3 in the morning. You all gonna be up?
No.
No? Oh, she suggested having specific topics by season, however we wanted to do it. Do you know this book? It's called A Sand County Almanac.
Oh, yes.
We could take each month, because that's the way it's broken
Yeah,
down.
right, yeah.
So it's written by,
I can't come up with his name.
anyway, it's written by a man who was a conservationist, and he had a farm.
Yeah.
And it's in, I think his farm is in Wisconsin. It's still there.
Yeah,
He's gone, but,
Aldo Leopold.
that's right,
Leopold,
although
right, yeah.
Leopold, right.
Yeah, I know it would come.
Thank God for, I didn't think of it. Google.
A
What was
Google
the name
thing.
of it?
Yeah.
Sand
It's called A Sand County Almanac.
County.
And what he does is he takes each month, roughly, each month, and he describes what's going on in his farm.
Yeah.
Like, this month he would be talking about the geese doing their exercises in preparation for migrating. And he would be talking, he'd probably talk about, the monarch butterflies, and so he would be, that's what September would be about. So maybe we could use that as a model for the topics that we put at the library.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't have to use every month, because some of the months are, like January is like, it's snowing again.
Well,
It's
and
cold.
Besides that, they may have topics they want to
Right.
put out there too.
Right.
Right.
So,
I'm so, haven't really noticed, the Wild Trail seems to be officially closed during the winter, but, I think people still use it on foot. It's-
Oh, yeah.
It's closed to any.
Motorized vehicles.
Right.
Vehicles, yeah.
Right.
But, I'm sure there are things that can be, talked about in the context of winter as well as summer.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if we could, or we could get somebody to, like, one of the things I like to do is go out in the woods when there's snow on the ground and track animals.
Yes. Yeah, we were doing that at the Prescott Farm. They had some transects, and we'd go out in snowshoes and record what was going on. And we had a regular coyote trail that would come right up across there.
I took some students out there one time, and there was, like now that, the flocks of turkeys are all over the place.
yeah.
And, the turkeys, we saw this flock of turkeys, and they all flew up into trees.
Yep.
And the kids were like amazed that the turkeys flew up in the trees.
Oh,
I
well,
said,
they
that's-
roost.
What?
They roost in the trees.
Yeah, where do you think they sleep at night?
Yeah, right.
They go up in the tree, anyway,
Yeah.
to be safe.
Oh.
Okay,
I think as this goes on, we're just gonna have lots and lots and lots of different ideas
Yeah,
that can be
yeah.
incorporated, because one idea breeds another idea
Sure.
that
Yeah.
keeps going.
Yeah. Yeah, it won't take very much before ideas will start coming at us from outside various places.
I think one of the things we should focus on is water.
Yes.
We are the city on the lake, right? things that we do around the water, sampling it. How does the water flow? How does a watershed work? And Deb was
I wrote
doing,
that down.
yeah, Deb was doing watershed, teaching
Fourth graders.
fourth graders about watersheds yesterday.
Well, also, what about what damages or causes problems with the water? The runoff, the
Right.
chemicals,
And most of them probably do know that their drinking water comes from the lake, but they
Well,
don't,
some of
they
them, not
may
all of
not
them,
know it.
not all of them.
But even if they do, well, you know, where do they draw it from the lake? What are the problems around their intake? That sort of thing.
how does the water get cleaned?
Yes, right. Yeah. Yeah.
That
and
to me is just an amazing process.
Yeah.
I run the dishwasher, it goes into the sewer, that water goes off somewhere, and they clean the water.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was, at some point, somebody from the water department was saying that, well, because of where we draw the water, in the summertime, your drinking water is treated to the highest level that they allow, just to make sure that it's safe.
And, you know, the other thing is, and maybe this would have a good impact, and maybe this is an article. There are certain things that the water treatment plant over on Stark Street cannot remove from the water.
Yeah, yeah.
They can't remove some of the microplastics, they can't remove some herbicides.
Yeah.
So,
Some drugs.
Oh,
yeah, some drugs, and so it's like, maybe you shouldn't use these herbicides, because when they get into the water, because you put them on your lawn, they get into the water, now you're gonna drink them.
yeah. Are we gonna talk about
Yeah,
Taylor at some point?
yeah, and I think,
Yeah.
you know, I
Because
think,
I've got something that tied in, something that they've done there, just yesterday at Taylor. Are you familiar with a chemical called dicamba? Well, anyway, they were spraying all the lawns around there, and they've got signs up there, warning, been treated with dicamba.
what is it?
It's, I think it's an herbicide of some sort, but I'm not sure, I don't.
How do you spell it?
Dicamba, I believe this is.
Okay,
They-
Ruth is Googling.
Their warning sign had all sorts of chemicals, 2,4-D down there as possibilities, because Turf Pro
Right.
applies all of them in different places.
Dicamba herbicide.
What's that?
Looks like it's in all this stuff. It's a brush killer,
It's a brush killer and,
yeah, it's in Ortho, it's in Stump and Vine, it's in Weed Stop.
yeah. That's probably what they're putting in, Weed Stop.
and I saw them doing it, they were spraying it on the lawn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're going around and around spraying all over the lawns.
and you know the crazy thing about it? The craziest thing about
The
it,
Taylor home,
mm-hmm,
so that it could run right down the lawn.
that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Right down onto Union Avenue, right across the,
Yeah.
right into the lake. The guy who was spraying it didn't have a mask on,
No.
and he was spraying and then walking through it.
Yeah, right. You're walking all over the place spraying around.
But versus spraying and walking backward.
Yeah, right.
But anyway,
Yeah.
Oh.
And I guess that
population is strong.
Taylor must have a contract with Turf Pro, because they're in there all the time.
Yeah, well, it's gonna make everything look beautiful and green and lush and wonderful.
Oh, yes, well, that's the key. They don't want anything to disturb that
It'd be not,
beautiful, even, green, no dandelions, no.
I think that is an excellent plaque to put on the WOW trail is the way, when you look at the vegetation on the WOW trail, the natural vegetation, the way we don't have grass going right down to the lawn, to the water's edge. And, so if you want to protect the water, that's the way you landscape your property.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if anything can be done about it, because it's obviously ingrained in the psyche of the people that are running the Taylor. And what how the residents feel about it just doesn't make that much difference.
Okay, so I think that this fits right into Deb's talk about watersheds
Yeah, yeah.
and how what happens over on Taylor winds up in our lake.
Yeah, yeah. Along with all the other places, similar things happen. Yeah.
I should make a video of that watershed model. And we can play it on
Yeah,
Yeah.
Channel 25 or whatever it is.
Right.
yeah.
You know
take,
what?
You take Kool-Aid and you sprinkle it. It's a plastic model of a community, and you sprinkle it on the roads. And this represents oil from a car or salt in the winter. And then you have construction sites, and I put a little cocoa powder up there for a pile of dirt. And there's a farm down here, and then you let the kids make it rain. You take spray bottles. And they spray, and of course at the bottom of the hill is our lake.
Yeah,
And I talk about how nice our lakes are, and then all of this colored Kool-Aid runs down into the lake.
Great
That's a good
visual.
exercise, yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully it sticks in their head a little.
Yeah, right.
But we're a culture that has to have our green lawns with,
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, well, it's basically sterile. It's amazing how sterile the campus is there at Taylor.
So, okay, so let's talk about Taylor. How can we get them engaged in this process?
Yeah, well, that's what those of us that are working on the Environmental Stewardship Committee are wondering about. I've at the town meeting there, I've given copies of this map that I've to the extent that I've done it at the time, to Michael and Mark, two of the kingpins there. Whether that'll do anything or not, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if it goes into the round file and,
So this is a map of invasives.
well,
I-
you wanna
and
take a look at it?
I have seen it. I saw it online. But the problem is, if you give them a map like that, then they're gonna say, oh, we need more weed killer. It could just,
what would, like, for the lawns and
Oh,
stuff?
well, it's not quite that, cut and dried. Oh, you got
Got
one?
one.
Yeah.
You have one, Taylor?
Yeah.
Thank you.
But the,
What would you suggest that Taylor put in instead, to get rid of their lush green lawns? What would you suggest they have there instead?
well, if they could let clover grow even would be,
Well, I agree,
one
because
step.
I'm trying to convert my whole place to clover, but
yeah, although I don't know whether
I
it was
hate grass.
on
I
purpose.
absolutely hate it, so.
But, when we had the slogan, no mow May, but no mow May.
Yeah.
The what?
Did you hear about that? So not to mow down, pollinator
Oh,
flowers.
yeah.
Well, there were some places where they mowed around clumps of clover. It surprised me.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
So maybe what we could do is we could go to Taylor and ask them to rototill a strip 30 feet wide and plant native wildflowers.
Of course,
like right next to the stone
I don't know
wall.
when they did it, but you know the bank over there beyond the gardens there in the pavilion?
Yeah,
Yeah. It looks as though that's what they did. They have a bunch of lupin in there, and they've got various other things, but that's the only place that, on Taylor, that was done. And they probably said, well, you wanna do it there,
right,
and
where it's out of sight.
yeah, yeah, right, yeah. But anyway, on this, our worst one, I'm pretty sure, people would agree, here is Oriental Bittersweet. It's all over the place. And one of the disturbing things, if you look at the, down near the entrance where the Taylor home and the Leadview are, you see a lot of these black dots that I put in there. Those are places where there are seedlings coming up. And I've got a bunch of them in, I don't know if you want to see what they look like.
He brought his lunch.
It looks like salad to me.
Somebody's like- But anyway,
Did you finish the lawn at the church?
no, I haven't got back to that. I've been sidetracked on this one. But we've got,
There was a lot of it.
these are some of the seedlings that,
Oh, yeah, look at them. Look at how long the
Yeah.
roots are on those seedlings.
yeah. Well,
No wonder they're hard.
one of the things that is really disturbing, you see that? They make a mat of roots, and once they get a matrix of roots underneath, you've lost the, lost
Right.
the battle.
Right.
But anyway, all of these seedlings there are something that even some of the Taylor folks were willing to do it, volunteer to do, to just go down, pull them up.
So when I was thinking about this and how we educate, you know, we have school children and we have the Taylor community.
Yeah.
So we got both ends of the spectrum and everything in between.
Yeah.
So we're not talking to the same audience everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. Well, one of the things that somebody suggested ought to be done, Paula
Paula Chambers.
Chambers, she said, she's got, I guess, grandchild or some, in a little Cub Scout troop. She said, bring them in there and let them work on it. I can't imagine the powers that be there allowing something like that to go on. Think of the liability. So it's a challenge, but I'm hoping that maybe this map will catch somebody's eye in the maintenance department, or high enough up, so they say, well, can we do something? And we'll see what we can get together. I don't know that there's that many involved with the Environmental Stewardship Committee that are doing more than just talking a good line. We had a meeting yesterday that was supposed to be for the whole committee, and there were just 4 of us there, and there's just 3 of us that were interested in this. Well, John Ford, I don't know if you've met John,
I have, yeah.
and the other one is Jim Eggers. He's fairly new. He lives over on Volpe Way.
Okay.
But anyway, they would be interested in at least learning about this, because we were planning to do a walkabout, so that they could see what these look like. The other one that's of concern too is autumn olive. There's a lot of it there along Ledges Drive.
I think the major difference between, in my experience, autumn olive and bittersweet, autumn olive, if you cut it enough times,
Yeah,
it will
yeah,
give up the ghost.
yes,
Bittersweet,
no. Yeah, because the autumn olive, well, it's amazing how many berries there are on one of those bushes. And there was one of the bushes there that was loaded with berries. And yesterday I went around and looked at it. I think there was one left on on there, and the rest of them the birds got.
Yeah, they
Right.
love them.
Yeah.
They love them.
And there's sprouts coming up here and there.
Yep.
so we have to have a avian educational committee
Good luck.
teaching the birds.
Go to eat the berries.
Even the ducks would come out of the water down at the boat ramp to go to the autumn olive and eat the seeds off.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
So,
But we do have basically three sort of jungle areas that would be, I don't know. And they're far enough, most of them are far enough away and out of sight so that you say, oh, well, we can ignore that. Just too much work to do.
It's
anything.
nice green. Look at, it's a nice color of green.
Oh, yeah. And part of that, the jungle has knotweed, too. We don't have much there, but there is some knotweed.
You know, and I think you gotta get the knotweed as soon as you find it.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Well, this has been there quite a while.
gets
And
established.
that's John Ford's
Blooming now.
stick, is,
isn't it blooming now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's everywhere.
I mean, that's the problem with autumn olive, is that it smells so good
oh, yeah.
when it's blooming.
Yeah, way back, I was traveling down to Connecticut for a meeting, and during the time when it was in bloom, and down along the interstates down through Massachusetts and Connecticut, the odor just comes through the window of the car. Yeah, so it's a challenge, but there are parts of it, like the seedlings, that can be addressed by people who just need fingers to pick them up.
So what if okay, so we're talking about having an educational table at the library. Let's have one, can we have one at the
There
Taylor?
is a library there. I don't know how much it's used, but one of my neighbors is the head of the heads up the library.
don't they have
There.
a TV, their own closed
Huh?
TV? Don't they have their own closed circuit TV thing too?
Uh,
Taylor?
yes, yes.
So maybe something could go on to their TV for those that
Yeah.
don't ever read a book. There might be some in your community, I'm sure
Yeah,
there aren't,
yeah.
that everybody there reads, but, I would imagine that you get a few people that are
Yeah.
watching that TV for announcements.
I think isn't it on channel like 25 or
Well, that's a community one,
24?
but Taylor's got
Well,
their
we need to
own-
have it there too.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
Taylor's got, I'm pretty sure
But
Taylor's got
there
their own.
are opportunities there for making presentations. I think Brenda would be willing to schedule something like even maybe Donna come up and doing her thing on pollinators.
And you know, so, you know, pollinator planting can be just as simple as having a pot and putting, you know,
Yeah.
pollinator-friendly plants in it.
Yeah, well, they just started bringing in mums for the wall.
One of my least, in fact, I can't say enough about them. That's how much I dislike them.
Yeah,
Why?
yeah.
I don't
It
know,
goes from
because
petunias to
because I plant them and they die. They don't
Yeah.
overwinter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, that's the way they do it.
Yeah,
They
they're
bring
not-
these things in,
Not
Right.
party.
plant them, tear them out, and they go into the compost, if they
Right.
do compost.
Well, the good news is they compost them. That's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how active they are on composting, but. But I sometimes get the feel that the management there at Taylor figures, oh, these are old folks, they don't really know what they're about.
I think we could change that.
I would hope so, because there are some that's very, very much interested in,
Right.
in things that we're interested in.
Right.
They made one step that, I don't know if it'll bear fruit at all, but decided to check with the marketing department to find out to what extent there might be people looking to come into Taylor that are interested in these
environment.
things.
Yeah,
And that would be a driver for the management.
Right.
If the people that are coming in are interested in how ecologically friendly the
Yeah.
campus is, things would happen.
I think, I would like to think anyway, that you're getting, there's the age of the people that are more environmentally engaged.
Yeah.
You know, those people that went to like
Yeah.
Woodstock
Yeah.
and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
And I guess
Was
that seems to be
environmental
growing in our
experience.
population.
How to destroy the environment.
Okay, so we have a starting point for this project, right?
Right, but there's, I know Dean's been on vacation, but have you been able to get any information about a web page?
I have not, no. He's back tomorrow, so I can do a little more.
Okay, you bombard him. Sit down, we got a lot of questions to ask you.
You're referring to like Facebook, right?
Right,
Because we do have a conservation page on the website that I update regularly, so.
but I think if we have, like, there's a Facebook page of Laconia
Talks.
Talks,
Yeah.
and if we could link up with that, then we could maybe we can get more volunteers to do stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if we wanna link with that, but
Yeah.
Okay, well,
We can look at it.
I maybe go on Facebook once every 3 months, and I've looked at that a couple of times, and it's like, yeah, no. No, that's,
and most of the time, it's not of interest to me, but every
well,
once
that's
in a
just a very, for me, it was a very negative site. And
while. Okay,
all that's wrong with everything. Maybe they should have a page like that. Tell us all that's wrong with everything. And we get a whole bunch of people just focused on that, and they'd leave the rest of the world alone. Just complain about everything.
well, you gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
they did, take care of that pocket garden on the end of Province Street.
Yes, they did.
So, I mean, that was a very positive outcome of
Yeah,
it.
I mean, it was a nice garden.
Yes.
It's just that I have detoured for a long time now because I couldn't see a damn thing.
Well, it had, it was overgrown.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is they put it on there and then people stepped forward to take care of it.
Yeah.
And they did a nice job, so.
So maybe we wanna link up with a page like, Hands Across the Table.
Who knows?
I mean, that's a positive.
Yeah, I'm not, I mean, I am no expert on Laconia Talks. I just, a couple of brief times I looked at it and said, nah,
Yeah,
no thanks.
it can be very negative, but.
Okay, so do we want to talk about anything else for this cohort, or?
I think we have a good
I think we have a good starting point.
Yeah.
standing for the next meeting, so.
Okay. Okay, so I think that one of the things we have to be mindful of is, this is not Taylor's job. and, you know, when Dean gets back, I'm sure he'll have some other assignments for you or whatever. So I think, you know, the way that we can, you know, certainly you can run interference for us by talking to Dean about, you know, a Facebook page and stuff like that. But I think we need to flesh this out more before the meeting on the 29th, just so that we have, you know, maybe we could start by carving out a, you know, I'll take care of this part, and that way if we divvy it up, we can, you know, it won't be as much of a workload for any one person. Okay, so you typically do the minutes of the meeting and get them out in a couple of days.
Yeah, I'll have it out tomorrow.
Okay, then maybe what we can do is look at it and decide which of these things somebody wants to pick up and run with.
And to start, I'll send an email to Amy and Alan tomorrow or something, and
Yeah, because that's,
just get.
we
like,
just
some-
need to make sure that it'll all fly, yeah, before we get carried away.
Yeah. And then, can the city make the signs that we're gonna put up?
I'm not sure. It depends on what we would want to go for with materials and how much.
I mean, I think that they would have to be metal.
We probably do metal.
Yeah.
I don't know that we can do I don't know if they can do concrete bases or anything like that, so I'd have to look into it more.
Oh, that's, and just go out there and dig a hole and they have,
The other thing is a lot of this is along the water, so we have to consider, do we need to do anything permitting wise?
Right, and,
Dig.
along the,
and, you know, how far it needs to be off of the trail, and, you know, for any trail
Oh, yeah,
maintenance that they
yeah,
do
yeah.
and that kind of thing, so, yeah. I think,
I think we should just start with getting permission first, and then we can
Right.
go to design and content.
okay. Okay,
get permission, and then we can do a field trip together.
Yeah.
Take a look.
and ask them what the constraints are with regard to, where they would want it and how far off the trail and how high and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then,
And maybe, I mean, you said Prescott Farm has some signs, informational signs along the way?
Yes, the ones I've seen were not permanent ones, they've just had plastic cards
Oh.
with a picture of a plant or a flower on it and a QR code, and they put those around when they had a self-guided trails
Gotcha,
set up.
okay.
But,
Because there must
they,
be other
they
places
would
that do it.
know the process of doing that.
Right.
I don't know if you need that information or
I mean, I would think there were other places that have done similar things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just gonna take a little, just doing a little research.
I mean, we could each look into that a little bit.
how can we get involved with the Taylor community? Or should we not try to get involved with it?
Well, I think it'd be possible to get involved with certain coterie of the residents. The management, I'm not sure. There are, and have been, a number of folks that have been very active about pushing for things, like saying, well, why don't we have some solar stuff up here? Well, the thing is, well, we looked into it, and it didn't make sense on a 15-year payback, so no. And that's the sort of reaction that the active residents have been getting on various things. If it also seems to come up against a brick wall. And I don't know if we'll get beyond that. It probably would take something like the folks in marketing were saying, the people that are coming here looking to come into Taylor are looking for these kind of things, and we don't have them. And that might do it, but I'm not sure whether that'll happen.
Got about 15 minutes.
No. 10. Okay, well, let me know what I can do. I would be willing to come.
yeah.
Do you know Jerry Guest?
I know the name. I haven't
Okay,
met-
yeah, they just moved in. He used to be my neighbor. He's a really good
Oh,
guy.
okay. Do you know, does he have a cottage, or is it Woodside?
I don't know.
I can find out.
Yeah, I mean,
Very guest, yeah,
He and his wife Ann just moved in.
yeah, okay.
Very nice guy, hard worker. He was the president of our association
Yeah, okay.
in Long Day.
Yeah,
So I think
yeah,
he,
well, we might recruit him for the Environmental Stewardship Committee.
There you
Yeah.
go.
that's what I was
I
thinking.
don't know, I have two minds about that. Paula talks a good line, but basically there's no follow-through.
Well, she's out for a while now, right?
Yeah, but she's gonna be back.
Okay.
And from up there at Dartmouth Hitchcock, she gets all of the emails and she responds to everyone I send.
Okay.
Yeah, but she tends to take over. It's anything you have an agenda set a topic on the meeting, but she'll dominate it.
Okay. We had to get her to follow through.
Yeah. Well, she
Or-
asked me if I'd be willing to take over as chair of the committee. I didn't say it, but I wouldn't do it as long as she's anywhere around. Because you never get anywhere.
Yeah. Well, okay, so if you could come up with some ideas on what we could do
Yeah.
to help you.
I think one thing that might be of help, and it would increase the awareness on the part of the management, would be to see if we could schedule at least one presentation there for the community.
We could do that.
Yeah. And whether
It's
it's
the most
one
impactful.
that would be done as this commission, or bring in somebody like Donna Miller to do a program, that sort of thing.
I was just wondering,
I
what
think
is
that's
it
a good
that
question.
Taylor does or doesn't do that is most impactful on the community, on the water, on, so they've got runoff from their herbicides.
Yeah. Well, I haven't scoped that out
But I
yet.
mean,
They
no,
have,
that's just an example. I
Yeah.
just think that you wanna maybe look at what is it that they can do that would be positive, that would be the most impactful, or what are they doing that has the most negative impact on the environment?
'cause I don't know where the stormwater goes. They've got several stormwater impoundment areas, but I've never seen water in them, except for that little one that I was talking to you about, maybe a vernal pool there along Taylor Home Drive. There's water in it now, since we've had the rains. It's fed by pipes from someplace.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have drawings of their construction, right? Don't we have as-built drawings?
We should, I don't know how old they are, I'd have to look through our archives.
Okay, well, we don't need to do that right away, but we can pull them out and,
We should
Yeah.
have that information.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because they put the herbicide on there, and last night I came home and the irrigation system was spraying over the lawn. They use a lot of water on irrigation there.
If you wanna grow rice, you gotta, supply a lot of water to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so before the next meeting, the Winnisquam Watershed Network is coming to do a presentation to the planning board on October
Fourth.
4th. So if you want to hear what the management plan is for that lake, So-
To the planning board?
to the planning board.
What's the date again?
October 4th at 6:30 in here.
So can you send out an
Yeah.
email,
Yeah.
please,
I'll attach
Taylor?
that.
Thanks.
Who's doing the presentation?
Cindy O'Connell. She's very knowledgeable. Her specialty is stormwater management. So, she's in the right place.
Is she part of the community, or was she a hired expert?
She is hired by the network to
Do the
help
study?
with the management plan implementation and development and implementation. And I'm sure she's gonna talk about the plan for Gale Avenue.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because speaking of rain gardens, they're gonna put a rain garden in.
Right, yeah.
So, I think her
We can get the
presentation will be.
information of that to Taylor. There may be people residents, probably not management, but maybe some residents would be interested in taking that in.
Okay, so, you're still putting the planning board meetings, are they still both live? I know they're live, but,
They're
Yeah,
on
of course, they're-
YouTube and I
course,
think
they're-
some TV station, I don't know, but they're recorded, they're always up on.
They're on the Laconia links,
right,
all of the notice of those meetings.
right, but they're on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Like, this
yeah.
meeting is on YouTube.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that if people from Taylor can't make it here, they can always go to YouTube and watch it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a topic that we could do a presentation for Taylor community at some point, would be the Winnisquam plan, and then we could talk about the O-Pee-Chee plan.
Yeah, because
I think
what
that's a great
comes
idea.
off Taylor goes into a peachy.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, right,
We're all connected.
And then down to Winnisquam.
yeah.
And you can do your little presentation.
Well, I.
Yeah, right. Oh,
I don't know if I need that.
on the, our proposed walk around the Wild Trail to decide what we might wanna do, I think we do wanna be sure that at least the Beatles, the Wild Trail, people that are in charge of that, get involved if they wanna be, so that they know what we might be wanting to do.
Absolutely.
And,
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so, the, one last thing, we discussed the 1.6 acres over by Molten Cove. We talked about it last meeting.
Where, I cannot even begin to figure out where Molten Cove is.
So, do you know where Pickerel Cove is?
Yeah.
So when you're going toward the weirs, you're gonna go out of the weirs into the big lake. First you have the pipe that comes from Pickerel Cove, and you go a little further up and there's a bridge over the water. That's Molten Cove. And so the city council, after they had a significant amount of public interaction, decided to table the project until
Yeah.
they could digest what the public had to say. I watched it on YouTube, and I thought that there were a lot of really good comments. So,
And the landowners that are around there that have rights to that beach can't get on the same page.
right.
So that's one of the major problems.
And that was the deed that Dean sent,
Right. Yeah, the $1.
Yep. Yep.
So, anyway. I offered $2, but. Okay, so it's 7:26. Anybody want to make a motion?
Well, does Taylor have a report?
I'm sorry.
Do we have any other news?
The only thing I had that I just figured I'd mention is the restoration project on Blackbrook that's over where the old sawmill was, and Irwin Boat Storage has been completed. It looks great. Grass is growing in. Yeah, so I think it just needs a few more weeks of growing and
yeah.
should start getting stabilized, and
Yeah.
I think that's just, that was something you guys had your eyes on, so it's
I
all set
haven't
and ready.
been down and looked at that work. Is the work that was done there within Laconia, or was it partly in Guilford?
The building side of it is in Guilford, the stream restoration is in Laconia.
Okay,
It's on private property, but
yeah, right.
that part's in Laconia.
Oh, and the other thing that we talked about doing was walking around the perimeter of, maybe not all of it, but the perimeter of Opeechee when they drop the
Oh,
level of the lake in
Draw
October
down,
10th.
yeah.
It's going to be, they're going to drop it 5 feet.
Well, 5 feet from full level.
So I don't know
not-
whether
not
5
5
vertical feet?
Yeah,
But not 5
Or
feet
5
from
feet.
now, because it's low now.
Right,
So,
right.
Yeah.
But 5 feet vertical feet
Yeah, vertical, yeah. So
Yeah.
as opposed to 5 feet from the shore.
it's gonna be a lot longer of
I know.
bare
Yeah.
ground, if you will.
Right, and so we thought that it would be educational to walk along the shore and see where pipes come into the lake or where there are streams that come in. And there's always an opportunity to pick up glass and metal.
Yeah.
And I don't know,
October 10th?
Is when they start.
is when
the
they
drawdown
start.
Drawdown,
They're
yeah.
gonna be down for 2 weeks,
Till the 24th.
Well, that's Columbus Day?
yeah.
Somebody's actually gonna work?
All they could do was open the dam.
Oh,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they just opened the dam and they're gonna drop Winnisquam 2 feet.
2 feet, yeah.
So,
Do you know, did they get a contractor to work on,
Not that I know of. DPW has a lot of moving parts right now. Krista is leaving.
I'm sorry?
Krista, the assistant director, is leaving, so I think Wes has his hands full right now. So I don't know if that's gonna get done this year.
Maybe we could get some masons out there to,
I was gonna say, it's not against the law for us to just do it
By
physically,
hand.
by hand. Right?
I suppose not. I'm not sure. I think that I would have to talk to the state about that.
could you find out from the state? I mean, because if we could just go
Maybe
down
we
there.
could
we could-
maybe we could apologize after if it's.
That's right, well,
Because I
Right, we- yeah.
can't believe that they would deny us that.
Yeah.
the city's very good at apologizing afterward.
Right.
Cut down stuff and
Right.
violate state rules. Anyway. Okay. Anybody have anything else? Okay.
I make a motion, we end the meeting.
Second?
All in favor?
Hi.
Any discussion? Thank you. Okay, good. All right.